Yeah. Okay. No, just sitting first. Huh? So, what do you think would be your internal feeling after this? What's yours, Alison, after doing this little bit of oscillation? Yeah. So he's been very quickly making sure he's got all of Larry in his image. And usually it's, so your tonus is getting equal, isn't it? Yeah, because you're being able to move across the ground. So how do you attend to yourself after this sort of movement? Has something already changed in your face? Yeah, generally in you. It's softer generally. Yeah. And how does that change for you, how you move your attention? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel more anxious when you've been given the ground like this, across the ground? Calmer. No? So most people, it's going to calm, equalize tonus, start to find more of themselves. Okay, so have a lie down, Alison. So we didn't see the setup, you know, what he did with Larry. We haven't seen it. You'll see more of Larry later, but okay. So what would, if we were looking at Alison, where might we think, if we started to get her oscillating from your ankles, Alison? What are the parts of her that look like they do a lot of movement? How does this end get through to a head? Is the movement as big here as it is up here? It's getting damped down a bit somewhere, isn't it? No, we haven't got the same oscillation through there. No. So where for Alison might we think of giving her a little bit more support? What might we want to change? Feet are doing interesting things, aren't they? Ah. Huh? She is trying to go up and down. I am going up and down. So that already tells us something. Yeah, that movement of her ankles, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's much more an in-out than an up-down. So what do we know that Alison's paying attention to that she thinks she's going up and down with her feet? It's not her heels. Yeah. Yeah, she's paying attention to something, isn't she? What are you paying attention to, Alison? Ah. But this is the things you're going to see. You know, this is how, what tells us we get to do someone and we go, what are the bits that aren't clear for them? Not good or bad, but simply, you know, okay. So from this position, let me do it. If I sort of started to get, so I'm being really clear here now that I'm sending a up-down force. And for me, it really, like it gets through her legs. They don't adapt, but there's a real stop in her low back is what I'm feeling. How do I feel there's a stop in her low back? I feel it in mine. No? That's where you're feeling it, in you. No? So I can come back and go, is that me? Let my low back go. No, it's still stopping there. Yeah. So I can come up a little bit and I can go, well, inner pelvis, because we're looking at this up down. So again, I'm not trying to drive this force through at the moment. I'm just interested in how she moves across the ground a little bit. Huh? And it just feels for Alison as if it's a little bit easier to come this way, but this way. Can you feel that, Alison? It's just here in a pelvis, it's not really ready. I can go down to her hips and do the same thing. No. So I'm just asking the question. Are you ready to shift your weight there? Huh? So I might feel for Alison, and what we'd predict is that there's a lot of her back off the ground here. No? So what could we put under her that might help to damp that down? Something soft. Yeah. And what I'm usually going to go in and do, no, go down, is feel where's the highest point of that arch. And for Alison, it's not actually down here in a pelvis. Can you feel it's about here? So that's where I want the support to be, wherever that sort of highest point. Okay, under you go. Lift your knees. We're just going to check. And if it's easier, there's a little bit more. Can you feel that? Yeah, there's a little bit more give there. Yeah, a little bit more give. Yeah? So this is how, because Feldenkrais doesn't have, he just goes boom. But we're getting through. It's getting clearer, this sense. I'm also if I went to, and I'm not going to lift her leg, but I feel there's a fair bit of work going on in her knees. So I might put a soft roller. Again, it's not going to be very high because I've already put something under a low back. So I'm not going to countermount that. See how heavy that is, Alison? So it's just going to be something really soft. Because again, I'm trying to damp this down rather than, let's try that. I think what I'd try more, because these are fairly soft, I just want it a little bit bigger. Okay, just bend your knees, Alison. And down you go. And again, if I was doing this as a first lesson for someone, I might be saying to them, does that feel more comfortable? What's different? Now, to start them, that definitely gives us a little bit more. Huh? How's it feeling, Alison? And again, how I know, I wouldn't, this isn't Larry, but look what's starting to happen. Huh? If I take those out, if I take that out again, yeah, nothing is going to roll across the ground in her heels. Huh? So what I'm looking for is this easy weight transference. Under you go again. What's going to work for? Yep, there she goes. Huh? Purely by adapting the environment. So this is what he's doing for Larry. Larry doesn't know how to adapt to his environment very well. So we have to use the environment to adapt to Larry in a way. Yeah. So, and again, where we normally look is, does this other bit here, what do I feel? Just is there a give there? Not much. Huh? It's not, I don't really feel that's ready. And again, I'm not so interested in lifting, because this lesson's more about across the ground. I'm saying, can I shift the weight side to side? Yeah, across the ground, but not lifting. Does that? Yeah. I'm just around generally that area. So there's the lightness, but I still haven't lifted it. This is across the ground. And I feel her head is still a bit heavy on the ground. So I'm going to keep that light, and I'm going to feel, where does your head need to be? Where could it be light? And what I feel for Alison, I could do it here, but this is about the environment adapting to her. Yeah. So what I feel is she's going to actually be better if I off-center her a little bit. Now her head gets light. He didn't do that with Larry because Larry was pretty much, no. She can't lift it. He did, but that's what I'm saying. I'm showing you, you have to now adapt to the person you're working with. I can guarantee you that Larry would have, no expression, would have been here. Yeah. All of this sort of falling forward. That's not Alison. She knows much more about being up. What have you been learning in all this stuff on your belly? Where can you get the headlight? Huh? Yeah, and again, if I've kept it in a direct line, it's like a lot of you were just finding in that ATM. If you put your head exactly in the middle, you have to be so much more organized to do that than if you let your head go over to the side. That's what you've been exploring in all of these prone lessons. Yeah, I haven't got enough length in my system, haven't got enough differentiation yet, so I offset it. Yeah, I just take it a little bit off. So if I leave Alison there, and I come back, there's her head. I'll just put it back in the middle again so you can see the difference. She's not quite, her head's not as ready to move here. Compared to, again, how do I know it? Over there, she's got a little bit of yes and no. Her neck is here for Alison. And even if I float her head, which you've done, if I was going to float her head, I would not be trying to float her head midline. I'd be finding, where does she want to go? Where's she roll? Oh, Alison, your head's so light over there because I've shifted her weight. So it doesn't matter that I'll just show you the difference again if I bring her back to the middle, where Alison has, her head's more constrained. It's just not going to go through as easily. So it doesn't matter if I've offset something, if I've changed, that's what we do all the time. How am I changing the relationship to find what works for me? So again, we'll just offset her a little bit. And then, so what was he doing? So we've sort of got it set up now that she's sort of more ready to go. She's more ready, but more parts of her because of the positioning and the supports we've given her. So then, what was Feldenkrais doing? Everything was about shifting weight. Everything he did at the beginning, shift the weight. Shift the weight. And it's because that's going to find, and then I've got her, so now I can do a force transmission. He's gone back to basics with Larry, and this is why I love showing Larry, because Larry needs basics, but lots of our clients need these basics too. Shift the weight. Shift the weight. How far up can it go? Oh, there she's starting to get it. And then he had a roller under here, so I could put a roller under here now because her leg's a little lighter. So if someone's got another, because it's really great to give her that ground. That's ground. She's learning ground by me giving her through her ankle, through her brain is just interpreting that as I know how to find ground. Yeah. So that then he was, remember, so Alison isn't ready for this. So with Larry, you could see he was coming more in from here. That makes no sense to Alison at all. So if I want to do it with Alison, I have to find where this makes sense for Alison. What part of her foot? You're a great demo for this. Thank you, Alison. What part of her foot allows me to begin to transfer that? So he's always going with what's easy, what's in the person's image. And then as Alison gets this clearer, how did that happen? This now is available or more available because I've gone always with what's there, and then I can get the push through. I'm bringing her to the midline. If I'm bringing her to the midline, what has to happen in a low back? It has to give up its work, doesn't it? It has to begin to lengthen, and we're going to come more up through the middle of her. So we can do that leg. And it really does help if you can, I just need her a little bit lower, you can use the rollers to help with it. So Alison actually needs it under there, under her heel. Now, doesn't work behind her ankle. Okay, and he did that the other side, and then he did both sides together. But it really does help if you've got something here to facilitate that movement. Okay, we're only going to do one side on Alison. Up you come, Alison. Let's see what that's done to her sense of space. A sense of how much of her is in the picture. Where is she? Where's her weight? Which side is she more interested in? Huh? Because we've given her ground. Huh? But what's different? Every part of her is there now. And something softened. Can you see in her neck? So do you know where you'd normally be, Alison? And what would you do in your back generally? There. Huh? And then just come back again. So something's really softened through this whole side. Huh? You can see her eye is much softer. Her face. So if you're going to smile at the moment, Alison, can you there's going to be a difference in how her muscles are going to be available to be engaged in expression. But it's all because of all these things we've done, giving a ground, moving across the ground. Yeah? So you find the ground. No point, as I said, it's not what you did with Jeff, where you're lifting and going through. This is ground, ground, ground. And then you can use a little bit of force transmission, and you really have to know how to oscillate to do this. But we'll go into that later. Have a stand, Alison. So it's really interesting. Go down again. So again, this is what I'm looking for at the end of a lesson. Alison's idea is she still has to come up symmetrically. But coming up is about coming onto both feet. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. But if I've just done a one-sided lesson on her, what might I expect into where she could bring her weight? Compared to, yeah, can you feel? You can see even her head's not the leader. She's going to use her shoulder. Yeah? But here, look how free her neck is. She organised all of that. All I did was feed in information that let her make sense. So now if you come up over one side, that's better. Believe me, I can see it when you're doing so many things, so many of you. Heads in the middle. This. May I never deviate. And, you know, there is something, you know, a lot of you have heard me say this, there's something really profound about once we get up to standing and find our heads in the middle, it's really hard to give it up again. So babies don't try and keep their head in the middle. Yeah, but then somehow we get into it with the way we use our eyes, the sensory systems we use, that our heads get really fixed in, they've got to be in the middle. But that, and you know, it's great to have it in the middle, but what's the cost if I'm not organised to be in the middle? So is it better, you know, if I'm more organised to be a little bit there, but I've got so much more adaptability there than I do if I think my head has to be in the middle. So we're going to always go with where it's easy, build it up, and then their system will find it. And that's the biggest thing for you to learn. You don't have to do all the work. Their systems can do the work. So you don't have to line everything up beautifully. You have to get all of them involved in the movement. You want the movement flowing through, and you want the head to be soft and light and free. Good. But that's what learning isn't, is it? You know, we construct all these ideas. And that's what we have to do, because if we couldn't rely on some predictions, what would we do? But this is where learning takes place, that all of a sudden something's coming in and rubbing against your idea. And you're such a great learner that you can sit there and go, I don't have to hold on to my belief. But maybe there's something here that I could, you know, investigate, that I've had a belief about something, but maybe there's more. There's other ways to look at it, and to build it into even a bigger idea, not to pull it down, but to give it more. Okay, off you go. Pick a partner. Absolutely.